AITA for expecting my son to share his room? Background. My 40SF husband, 40SM, and I bought a 3-bedroom house a few years ago, shortly before the panini. We of course took the master bedroom, and the other 2 bedrooms went to our children, then 12F and 10 meters. We put a very nice double bed in the larger room, and a single bed in the smaller room, and told them both that they could choose their rooms, but whoever ended up in the larger room may be asked to share or relocate for visiting family members, while whoever ended up in the smaller room would have it to themselves always. We almost never have family over. Hubby and I are both only children, and our parents are in other provinces. So we were surprised when our older daughter chose the smaller room, and our younger son chose the larger room. But okay, they worked it out between themselves, both seemed happy with the choice, so okay. And it has remained that way for a couple of years. Now, we have a 4-day weekend coming up. My kids are now 15F and 12 meters, and my mother decided to come down to visit. Of course, we told her okay, my husband and I, as we hadn't seen each other in a while, and I told our son, with the larger room and bed, that grandma would be here for a few days, and would be using his bed. Well, my son threw a fit. He didn't want to share a room with grandma, not even on an air mattress, not even for 3 nights, she smells funny. So we reminded him of the original deal, and offered to put the air mattress in the living room, but that wasn't enough, he'd have no privacy there. His sister offered to let him put the air mattress in her room, which she wasn't required to do, and that wasn't okay either. My husband and I offered to let him put the air mattress in our room, and he said no to that, because sharing a room with your parents, God bless the privilege, but whatever. Finally, I put my foot down and said, the condition of you having the bigger room was that you'd give it up for visiting family members. So one way or another, you're sleeping on an air mattress for 3 nights. You can choose if the air mattress goes in your room or our room or the living room, or literally any room in this house, but you are sleeping on an air mattress while grandma is here. Shortly after that confrontation, my husband came to me and suggested that we encourage my mom to stay in a hotel. I asked him who was going to pay for that hotel. Since she can't afford it, we can't afford to put her up, and he went silent. Now he's calling me tough for forcing our son to give up his room for all of 3 nights, and suggesting that I tell my mom not to come at all since apparently none of us can afford it. NTA. Your son sounds a bit entitled if he can't survive 3 nights on an air mattress while his grandmother is there. Expecting him to share a bed or room with her would be excessive, but there are presumably other spaces in a 3-bedroom house where he could crash. NTA. This sub is obviously full of children who think 3 days on an air mattress, which he agreed to, is akin to some form of abuse that will leave him scarred well into his adult life. I think he can give his grandmother his bed and stop being a brat, which nothing against him, but is fairly typical kid behavior. I occasionally had to do the same for my grandparents. In hindsight, it was obviously the right call. You're not putting your elderly parents on a damn air mattress, that's insanity. NTA. You made the conditions clear and now he isn't happy they are happening to him. For context, I am the oldest of 3 and had a similar arrangement. I chose the biggest and best room, after my parents, which also had a bathroom next door that, essentially, became my private bathroom. The arrangement was that I was always the one who had to give up the room to guests, also because I got a double bed. While I didn't love giving up my room, I understood that was the price of having such a good room to begin with. Also, I usually would give up my room for 1 or 2 weeks at a time. A 4-day weekend is nothing. Your son got the room he wanted and is now looking to renege on the deal. You have given him various options, but it is clear he simply does not intend to keep his word. Your husband thinks the person to compromise to his tantrums is your guest, but there is another option. He loses the room entirely and it goes to your daughter going forward. NTA. He is not a toddler. Ask him why is he so adamant about it, but then remember him, he has the bigger room for a reason and he needs to obey. All these people saying up is the asshole. Oh my God, what is wrong with you? They are not abusing him. They have been more than fair and he is throwing a fit. I agree with trying to understand why he is acting like this to see if there is some underlying issue there. But this kid need to understand the concept of compromise. Edit. To all the people saying YTA because a 12-yo needs privacy, safe space, etc., I can't help but think how entitled a society we have become. In past decades, 2 to 3 kids would share a room through their entire child and teenage years, and even today there are tons of kids living in miserable conditions in slums, refugee camps or other similar situations. And Op is being called an for telling her son he has to vacate his room for 3 nights while his 60-70-something-year-old grandma visits so she doesn't have to sleep on an air mattress or stay in a hotel. Just wow. Edit. I sincerely appreciate everyone's comments and judgments, but I have officially reached the point where every time I look at my notifications, it adds 2 every second without me even having to hit refresh. Clearly I should have posted this on my main account, since apparently Reddit karma is important in some way. Lol. To follow the common AITA trend and respond to some common themes. 1. Why don't I offer my own, and my husband's, bed to my mom? My husband has back problems, so also cannot viably sleep on an air mattress. I will not be going into detail on this. I also assume that it will be incredibly obvious to everyone why it is not viable for my husband and my mother to sleep in a bed together while I sleep on an air mattress. Not to mention that she would never allow me to give up my bed for her as a visitor. 2. Why doesn't my mom sleep on the couch, air mattress? She's 83 years old. Need I say more? 3. Anything involving my son and daughter switching rooms. My daughter is willing to help in the short term, but she seems a bit smug right now about the overall room choice, so she has no desire to switch rooms. And I will not force her, because what kind of parent would I be if I hold my son to the letter of his deal, but go back on my word to my daughter? You may decide I'm and I'll accept that, but I am not a hypocrite. 4. I am fully aware of the privacy a 12-yo boy requires. We've had that conversation, and, at the prompting of a couple commenters, I have also recently asked my husband if there was a private conversation between him and my son that would in some way change this situation. He said no. Since I do not currently have any reason to believe my husband would lie to me outright, I'm considering that conversation closed. 5. Rip my DMS, apparently? Lol. I didn't know that happened to 40-something married moms, but please know that I am not interested.